A lot of times I get on here and I talk about passive income, right? I talk about covered calls. In this video, we're going to talk about the philosophy of passive income. We're going to talk about the philosophy of being someone in your 50s or 60s. And we're going to talk about the ideal allocation for a 59-year-old. And we're just going to kind of go over some philosophical and practical things. So now one of the things that we talk about on this channel is passive income. And it's no secret that everybody seems to be talking about passive income, especially when you're in the business these days of talking about it. You notice when everybody else is talking about it. And maybe that's what you're looking for. And if you are, great. Now, I believe passive income is kind of hard to find unless you got a net worth of, say, over 25 million, in which case you can have somebody else doing all the work for you, getting paid for it, but still giving you enough money to make passive income on a fairly conservative portfolio. But as you're building that portfolio to, say, 25 million, it's not that passive, right? And if you've owned real estate, you know what I'm talking about, right? You've gotten the call that you need to come clean out a toilet, or your property manager gives you a call about some problem, whatever it is, you're not quite passive. I call it semi-passive income. Let's be realistic about what passive income really is, because I talk about it and I teach it. But at the end of the day, it's not exactly passive income, but everybody puts it in this category. So in this video, we're going to talk about how most people talk about passive income and how most people end up using passive income and how you can too. I want to back up because so many people are pursuing passive income. And I think that's the wrong way to go, because I think you have to kind of decide who you are, right? Why do you need the money? What's your big why? If your big why is to have a big number with a bunch of zeros after it or a Lamborghini, my feeling is that you're not really getting enough why to make sure that your unconscious mind, I'm talking a little bit of woo-woo stuff here, but your unconscious mind, your soul is going to help you propel through the tough times. And what I'm talking about is, in any business, in any strategy, in any investing, in anything in life, we've had setbacks, haven't we? Right? We know there's setbacks. And, there's a saying, if you want to make God laugh, tell her your plan, right? And so tell God your plan, and then that plan always changes. So you have to be ready to be able to change that. And if you get so hung up on having the Lamborghini, if you get so hung up on making, $25,000 a month, and you don't have a why of why you're doing it, all of a sudden something happens and you're not making $25,000 a month, you're going to be affected by that negatively. And that might shake you, and it might prevent you from making solid, non-emotional decisions. Now, what am I talking about? What the heck am I talking about? Well, my point here is that you need a really good why, right? Just making money, while it's great, passive income is great. If you don't have a why, like maybe you're watching your kids graduate, or you're walking your daughter down the aisle, or you want to retire early so you and your wife can travel around the world, or you want to regularly spend a month in Italy with your family. Those are big whys, right? And I don't know what it is for you. I know for me, it's doing a lot of traveling, but also enjoying the loved ones that are in my life, the people that are in my life, the friends that are in my life, the laughter that's in my life. That's my big why. The money is great, and maybe I should put more emphasis on it. But if you're not just focusing on making money, then your purpose becomes a bigger deal, right? Because if you just want to make money, I don't think you're going to be that successful. I look at the people that have a big why. People like Elon Musk, for example. He wants to colonize Mars. That's a pretty big why. He wants to make space travel, mundane and common. And he's putting 2 rockets up a week now to do that. And, we basically put 2 rockets up a year 20 years ago. If you have a big enough why, you will succeed. I really believe that. So what's your why? Really focus on what that is. I believe that in order to be a successful human, we all say we want to be happy. Well, what is that? It's so hard to define, and it's different for everyone. And so I think it's got some components of health, wealth, relationships, time, and spirituality. So, if you feel stressed out all the time, or you're worried about your investments all the time, and you're not able to focus on those other things, health, wealth, spirituality, and relationships, well, then you might be falling short. You might not be happy, even if you're making tons of money, right? You know those stories about people that are making a ton of money, or they inherit a lot of money and then they blow their brains out. We don't want that to be us, right? We want to be happy. Do we really need all the money that we are told that we need? That's a question that you can answer for yourself. I talk about how to make 1% to 2% a week in income in my program, and I do it with covered calls primarily. And I teach people how to do this. Is what I do. The problem is a lot of people get so excited about this, they get wrapped up into it. And it's tempting because when you're putting down 1 to 2% a week in income, that turns out to be what, 50% a year to 100% a year in income if you can do it over and over. And people start to get involved in that chase. I'm going to do this. Oh, I found a great covered call. I found a great company. Well, I don't want you to get wrapped up in it. I want you to use it to enhance your lifestyle, to enhance that why, but not to be the why, right? There's a big difference. Are you getting that difference? I hope so. I know I talked a little bit about asset allocation because a lot of people, come on this and they want to hear practical advice. So I give practical advice, but today I thought I'd go a little woo-woo on you. Hope you get it. The practical advice I would have is that if you're going to do an asset allocation, and by the way, this is just a typical asset allocation, coming from my financial past and my background and all the things that I've learned. This is not financial advice. This is not financial, go out and do this. This is education, information, whatever. See a financial advisor if you need to get a second opinion. But, we used to use an asset allocation formula of 100 minus your age goes into growth. And that asset allocation doesn't work anymore. It just doesn't. Like it used to be that when your stock portfolio went up, the bond portfolio went down, and vice versa. Now, when the bonds are going down, the stocks are going down. When the bonds are going up, the stocks are going down. It's crazy. And the safe money is not safe anymore. Like over the last couple of years, we've lost 50% in the safest bonds in the world, the treasuries. And so that's not a good allocation. That's not a very wise thing to do. So what does that mean? Well, it goes back to one of my sayings. Never give up your power and your health, your wealth, or your time. You've got to take control of your assets. You've got to take control of your wealth. You have to take control of your future. And if you do, you'll have a better life because you'll feel more in control. And so here's what I would say. I would say you want 20% in real estate equity. A lot of people say real estate equity is my home, but they say I got $1 million home, but I owe, $950,000 on it. And that's not, 20% in real estate equity. I mean, for that $1 million home, you should have 80% financed and 20% equity. There's your equity. But let me just warn you that real estate equity, it's not real, right? The market could go down. The real estate market could go. Everybody's warning us right now that the real estate market is going to crash, and it's negative equity. So I want you to be really careful about having your home as even thinking about it as an asset. Nonetheless, I put it in here because most financial people think that that's part of what you do. But I think everybody needs a place to live. And so to me, that's a cost. A home is a cost, whether you've got equity in it or not. It's a cost. You can use that and say, and we're going to be really conservative. So let's say 20% in real estate equity. Okay. And I'll get back to some different real estate in a second. 30% should be in a growth portfolio. At least for me, you want that to be in high quality growth stocks, right? Now, we know that stock markets correct about every 2 years with 10%, and about on average, every 6 to 10 years, we get a 25% correction. So you've got to be ready to ride that. And if you're getting older, you may not be able to handle it, the recovery on that kind of a correction. But nonetheless, 30% should be in growth. And right now, I think we're getting ready to go through a growth spurt with a lot more money printing in this country, and that is generally good for assets. So high quality growth stocks is pretty good. Now, 40% could go into cash flowing assets. This is where I thrive, and I believe that you can do well here. And that cash flowing percentage could be in real estate, like you own strip malls or you own rental houses or apartments, tax liens, which are great investments, and they pay fairly regularly, when they come due. Covered calls, which is my specialty, and it's what I teach. And to me, it's pretty easy. You take a course, my course, hopefully, and you learn how to do it. And you make 1 to 2% a week if you have the right discipline and the right mindset. And then businesses as well. So if you've got your own business, you got a medical practice, or you've got your own, Amazon store or whatever, that should be a cash flowing business, not a break-even business. These would be cash flowing businesses. The goal here is to focus in on the cash flow. And if that becomes equity, great. And then I want to finish up with 5% Bitcoin and 5% gold. Now, I don't believe in all the other cryptocurrencies. I'm a Bitcoin guy. And so having a little bit of Bitcoin, the way we're printing money, this is a 15-year tested asset, and it's a great hedge because they're not making any more of it. I used to say real estate, they're not making any more of it. Well, it's even more true with Bitcoin. There's only going to be 21 million coins. But anyway, you can watch some of my other videos if you want to learn a little bit more about that. And then having some solid gold, right? Some gold that's in your safe or now I'm not talking about gold ETFs. That would fall into that growth portfolio part, right? I'm talking about actually having gold in case things really get tough. And people will accept gold at some point. Now, gold has a lot of entry and exit fees, and it has storage fees if you're not storing it, by yourself, and it has, sales commissions and things like that. So there's a lot of slippage with gold. But anyway, I wanted to give you some practical stuff to kind of just make you sit down with your portfolio, sit down with your assets, and think about them, right? 20% real estate equity, 30% in growth, 40% in cash flowing assets, and 5% in Bitcoin and gold, respectively. The bottom line here is have a big enough why, and then you'll figure out how to make all of those things work together. And I'll get a little bit more left brain on the next video, but I hope you enjoyed this one because I want you to think about things a little bit differently than just, oh, I want to make $5,000 a month, $10,000, $25,000 a month. There's way more to that, and I hope I communicated that to you. See you on the next video. Take care.